Hi, welcome to Radio Hawke's Bay. I'm Gail and this is life coaching with a bit of a twist. We have a little bit of astrology, a little bit of the psychic intuitive stuff, we've got a little bit of the tarot. So we are starting January 2023. Wow, hope you all had a lovely Christmas and spent it in whatever time was comfortable and lovely for you. It's about the energy of Christmas and the being with everyone that's different to the rest of the year, and it's just nice to experience different. So 2023, we've got a few things coming up for you, a few things in the sky as well, because the sky, like we know, the moon influences us, the other planets do have an influence on us also. And we had Mars going retrograde pretty much backwards October 31st, and that finishes January 12th. Pretty much means that we're going to have a bit of a slow start to our New Year's resolution. So it's not you, if you're not just jumping into it and getting into it, it is just the way the planets are moving. Let's just say it's the way life is moving. Everybody's kind of like a bit slow on, getting things into gear. And me saying that, it might give you a bit of a push and or incentive just to try and get it moving a little bit faster. We always do the cards for the month of January. And in between, I'll let you know about a couple of little things coming up during the year in the sky. So we've got some solar and lunar eclipses this year, so 4 in all. And we've got the first one being a solar eclipse in Aries on April the 20th. A lunar eclipse in Scorpio on May the 5th, and then we've got 2 in October. We've got one solar and one lunar eclipse in October. So the first one is the solar eclipses in Libra on October the 14th, and then we've got the lunar eclipse, which is in Taurus on October the 25th. And generally this is just where the star sign is that we're in. So wherever your star sign falls, if you have an eclipse in that month, it kind of relates to you and your life, and in a way where they can be quite significant moments or happenings or events that come into your life at that time. So let's carry on and have a little look. I'll just have a little look at a card for January, just to see what's coming up for you personally for 2023. We're in another year, so that means this year is about introspection, perspective. It's about that drive to learn knowledge. You might find that you want to kind of like study something or learn about something you haven't before. There is a spiritual aspect this year as well, so you may even find yourself looking for some sort of meaning in life that is, in essence, what you can believe in that is greater than yourself. And that could be going to church. It could be looking up the internet on, spirituality and modern day spirituality and cultural spirituality and all aspects of what spiritual is, and then relating it to yourself, to a part of yourself that is spiritual, because every one of you have a part of yourself that's spiritual. So it's a interesting year in the fact that you will also deeply dive into yourself a little bit. You will reflect on things more perhaps than you have in previous years. 2021 was a change year. 2022 was a year where things just started to come back to normal and come back together. 2023 is like you just sit and you reflect a little bit more personally on yourself, on your life, on who you are, on what, how you want to be and how you want to act in the world. A lot of different things you'll be reflecting on. It's also a year that you could find yourself a little lucky, please encourage you to look up the internet for your astrology sign and your the year meaning for you. It is, as I say, it's a lucky year. It's a year where things do tend to kind of start moving a little bit in some way, but then in other ways it's like, I've already worked so hard and nothing's happening, what the heck? But it's going to happen. Perhaps maybe later in the year when you've relaxed a little bit more, contemplated enough, found out what you want to find out about, learned about what you want to learn about, that you can relate to your life in new and practical ways in your life. So we're going to have a little, that's just a general on the year. There's a lot of things on the internet that you can look up for any deeper meaning that's personal to you. This is just really to give you a little bit of an idea really of what you can expect. So we'll do the month by month all year like we normally do. Today we will do January. So January is the first month. We're still in cruise mode a little bit for those of you who have holidays, and the rest of life is in cruise mode. So it's nice to just kind of like chill and lay back. But let's see what else the cards say about things that are coming up in January that might pertain to you personally. I just kind of like take the cards. So I'll pick out 3 to start with, and if we're talking first about indulgence, there's a particular time, and I would have to refer back to my notes to have a little look at this, of indulgence this year. And it's the first card I pulled out, and maybe I can't see the indulgence side of things quite straight away, but I'm sure I'll get there eventually. Okay, so I've made small handwritten scribble, so I'm sorry I can't see things. I often do this and then I can't see what I have actually written. Yes, May 16th this year to May 2024, we have a year where we can be a little bit more indulgent, a little bit more decadent, but we're generally more aligned to the artsy side of life and the arts in general. Liken it to a cultural renaissance of sorts. Yeah, so that's from May 16th. Right, and the first card that I pulled out just reminded me of that. So there's still a little bit of indulging. There's still a little bit of that wonderful, joyful, and having a whole lot more food and drink and socialising and just all the good times, actually. It just says that for some of you that perhaps you might be having a bit of a hangover from that in January, and it might just be a good idea to kind of re-look at your life, how it's been in the last few years even, and what you'd like to change this year. There are things in your life that have unknowingly been putting a stop to the things that you want to do in moving forward. So sometimes it's self-confidence, that we've been just focusing too much on what we can't do, and that stopped you from moving forward into the things you could do or actually want to do. So January is a good month to just go to heck with it, take a risk, but a risk in a good way. So also January promises that you will, it's the start of a new chapter. There's a little bit of finishing off for some of you from last year, where the past is still being regurgitated a little bit. It is still being shown to you so that you can let it go. See the lessons you've learned and just let it go. See the positives you got out of it and let it go, let it rest. It's just the heralding of the end of the chapter, that it seriously is time for not just a new year, but a new path, a new you, a new chapter in your life. So we'll have another little look at something else. It also says that, and I haven't shown you the cards, I know. There's a reason for that. And that's because I just want you to listen. No. There is a reason that I haven't shown you the cards. It's simply because we're at a new year and we want to see things in a really positive light, which is how these cards depict it. But if I show you the cards, often people take connotations themselves from cards which I know don't relate to the meaning I'm getting. So, this says step forward with strength. You've done all of the muscle building over the last few years. So whatever you're waiting to do, go out there and do it. This is the year to contemplate and then reflect and then just do it. So I'm going to actually expand on one of these cards. I've already looked at the fact that some of you are finishing off old stuff. It might be as far as work goes, you might have quit your job or finished your job, an old job or a relationship in 2022, and then 2023 you're just still in that process of letting it go. I'm just going to look at what else will come up for that. Let's have a little look. Pretty colours. The whole lot fell out. Not quite, but just about. So I'll just have a look at a few of the cards that actually fell out. This is to remind you that the worst is over. The tough stuff is finished. You've done your muscle building, in other words, and it doesn't get worse, it gets better from here. You may still feel a little bit jaded. This just says as far as money and finances goes, there is enough. It's not maybe as much as you like, but this says you will have enough in January for the things that you need and for the things that you want to revisit, catch up on. And this again is to do with things that you used to really enjoy doing. It's like do a few of these things during January that just give you that little bit of, I don't know, feeling like a child again, feeling like there's a little bit of something exciting. With Christmas being over, sometimes we can feel a bit flat. We can just feel like, oh, here we go back into another year. This says that there are new experiences, new jobs for some of you. The trick will be not to take everything on your shoulders yourself. It's share the load. It's leave the responsibility where it's due. Some of you are too responsible and feel too responsible for everything you do in your life, including, when you're talking to others or if you're doing enough for others. And this just says you're doing more than your share in January. So you can step back a little bit, and it would be good if you could, because you'll just feel happier. So happiness is in January as well for you. Happiness is in January, telling you that if you're not feeling happy now, the promise is that you will. The promise is that this year, it's funny, I'm getting around June and July. I had something else around June and July. So I'm just going to look. Sorry, I've got June and July. So this is July. So in July, we have, in astrology, there is the North Node and the South Node, and these influence our lives a little bit like the planets do. So July 17th, 2023 to January 2025, so that's for about 2 years, or about 2.5 years. Yeah. It's like we are urged to embrace our passions, the things that we enjoy the most, but the things that give us the most happiness. And I know that if you've been in a dark place, it's like I don't even know what that is. That's why you take the clock back to when you were really young. The simple things made you happy, the simple things you enjoyed. And sometimes they were cheeky little things that just gave you a bit of a lift or a giggle. And it's about embracing and reconnecting with those. So for all this time, up until 2025, it's just really involve yourself in those things that you really, really enjoy. It also is a time to share what you win. And what you win is maybe things that come your way, you give some to someone else. Yes, apparently that's been confirmed. So we have also, there's a focus on income, and I feel, like getting more income in, and possibly in January, because we're starting a new year, we've got bills and all sorts of things going up in different areas of our life, and we're wanting more. So it just says be mindful when you're doing this to always know what you have to pay, so that whatever you've got extra, you put aside for yourself for that little bit extra, so you know that that's your extra. So it's about budgeting. It's about making sure that you have that little nest egg where you can just go and splurge occasionally, just so you don't feel so impoverished. It is a month too where there will be, for some of you, little feelings of regret perhaps. It could be over past indulgences. It could be just over missed opportunities from 2022. Or it could be from that whole time with COVID, how the world has changed, how your life has changed. It is just all of those feelings are good to let go of in January now, because they don't serve you anymore. There's no point. You're ready to start again. You're ready to start new. So let's do that instead. Now, I just want to have, and I like to do this occasionally, is shuffle the cards and just see what else is going to come out for January. And in the meantime, I had something else I wanted to say about this year. From March the 7th, and this is again for about 2.5 years, by the way, we pretty much are kind of being drawn toward practical stuff, but more in the idealism. Practical idealism is where we're headed for those next 2.5 years. It doesn't mean you won't kind of like just drift along in fantasy land every now and again, because that's what we do, but it'll be about practical things and the idealistic aspect of that. November, now I've got this that comes up in March 23rd to June the 11th, this 2023. Pretty much there's a little experience of this. And it's about where people will start to look at creating communes. And communes is just like collecting people together where they share food and resources and all that kind of stuff. It's like going back in time for our generation in some ways, where space exploration will be a little bit more focused on between those two dates. And also where science itself will evolve a little. The best and biggest time for those three things and those three aspects will come in from November the 19th, 2024. So this is next year. I'm saying this in case, whatever. But from November 2024 to January 19th, 2044, this is where the communes and the space exploration and the scientific evolution and discoveries will come in. So it's over a long period of time, and it's a very liberating time. So that's something to look forward to, because it's the world, and that's the way the world will be. Right, let's have a look. I'm just going to have a look at these cards. I decided I'd have a look at this card here because it says you've done all the hard work. It says now just trust that you can do it all. You can do enough. You can do more than you need to do. It says a little bit of reflective meditation time out. And I know January, that's kind of a little bit what we do anyway. But just to have a little bit of a break, because it's been a pretty tough year. So relationships with people could still be a little bit stressed. Please, if you have a person that you've not been getting on with, or you've had some differences, and this could be ex-partners, this could just be, you know, with a person you have to see all the time or work with all the time. It's like if you've had differences, it says that those can be resolved in January, and that it can bring a lot of healing between two people. So that's another nice thing to be able to look at. So we've got January 2023, and this is your chance. Please, no pressure. Sometimes we put pressure on our New Year's resolutions. This is simply to think about it in the way that, well, it's going to be a slow start anyway. It just gives you time to reflect and think about what you think your resolutions are, and maybe reset them, repattern them, re-look at them. Look at yourself first. This is a trust yourself year. It's choose who you trust and who is trustworthy. But trust yourself to know who to be around, who to share confidences with, what to do that's best for you and for others. And on that note, lovely people, I do personal readings. If you would love to come and see me, 027 4166 545 is my number. And have an absolutely blessed year, and we will see you again in the middle of January. Take care. Namaste. Didn't need the water, did I?